Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of level 1. My name is Isabella and today I will be your instructor. So I hope that yesterday everyone have had a good class. So I'll just double check the audio to see if everything's okay. And so yesterday we went through the introduction of NLG. Sorry, I'll just double check. All right, so I suppose that everyone can hear me nice and clear. Sorry about that. I just try to double check my internet. Okay, so I think that we're in. All right, so I suppose. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, so just to recap from yesterday's class, we did a basic introduction to NLG, and I explained to you the core elements that NLG operates upon. And we also walked through the first formula that you practice. And so I'd like to very quickly, if you would like to write something in the chat box, if you want to share something. And of course, you can also use the Telegram groups if you have any initial experience with practicing NLG, and particularly with that brain cell activation frequency. So feel free to share using the chat box as well as the Telegram groups. All right, so now before we dive into today's content, which we will talk a little bit more about the topics from yesterday, and I'll give you some more examples. And of course, after this class, after the energy activation, I will also present you with the official level 1 formula set that you can practice. Now, before we do that, I'll go ahead and transmit healing energy to everyone. Now, if you wish to receive the healing energy from Mr. Lei later on, then just skip this one. But if you want to, have a fresh start to this class and make sure that you're taking in this information very clearly and things like that, then feel free to receive this healing transmission from me. So I will set my timer to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And of course, what you do with a standard healing transmission is that you will open your eyes, you will look at my forehead, and you visualize energy from my forehead going into yours, and you just let that energy absorb and spread throughout the body. Yep, so that will be it for the healing energy transmission of how to receive healing transmission. So let's get started. I'll set my timer and we can start now. Okay, and we have completed the healing energy transmission. Awesome. So now let's dive into some more content. So yesterday we talked about the core elements of NLG, which are love and morality. So, and it's really, really important for us to discuss this extensively. So I'll put on the screen right now the 5 forms of love so that we can talk a little bit more about that. And you will certainly, sorry everyone. Okay, I just have to turn this app off so that it's not too heavy. Okay, sorry about that. So you will see us, you will hear us talk a lot about the 5 forms of love and morality as we proceed throughout the class level. Of course, it's really important elements that we will discuss in level 1 and 2. But then as you go to level 3, 4, and 5, you would still, a lot of the time, Mr. Lee will talk extensively about these elements still, because they are the core principle of this method, and it's the reason why, this method's work, and it is also how you can elevate your practice of NLG. So if you don't meet these requirements, it's going to be quite a challenging journey for you here at NLG, and maybe you won't feel as many improvements, you won't experience as many benefits like other participants. And also, if you only get your practice of love and morality to a certain point and it doesn't match with your class level, then there's limitations as well. So let's say that in level 1 and 2, you come into NLG and your practice of love at a certain level is currently at a certain level. But then as you get to level 3, 4, 5, then these practice of love and morality needs to be improved as you go. And that is something that you need to work on. It's not something that we can activate you. We can help to activate the energy frequency for you to connect to this energy source. And that is the initial, I guess, connection that you will need. But then afterwards, in terms of how you're going to strengthen your own energy connection with the outer space civilization, with this energy source, and of course, with the benefits, the transformation that we've talked about, then it's totally up to you. So this really is your journey. And it's the reason why you need to put in the effort and be really serious when you come into a method like this. It's not that you get the activation and then that's it, but it's all about that progress that you need to make as you proceed through the class levels. And so, of course, in level 1 and 2, we wish that you work on the first 2 forms of love. So self-love and love for family. And the question that we need to ask after we are aware of these forms of love is that how can we maintain this on a day-to-day basis? Because remember that as we go on with NLG, we will try to work on the other forms of love as well. When you get to level 2, you're going to work on love for country. And then when you get to level 3, then you're asked to already need to have the 4th and 5th forms of love. And then you get to level 4 and 5, there's a need to elevate these elements as you go so that it matches with the energy frequency that will activate you. So with the 5 forms of love, it's about gradually moving towards that 5th form eventually. And of course, as we talked about self-love, it's not being selfish. And of course, the reason why we start with love of family is so that we learn to express this love, beyond ourselves. But we try to start it from a closer, or I guess in a smaller scale. And so that's why you start with the people closer to you who are in your immediate social circle. And from there, you extend that love to a wider community. Now, having love and practicing it, it's of course really beneficial for each and every one of us because we relate to other people. We're not just by ourselves. So we have family. We could be a son, a daughter, a parent, a wife, a husband, grandparents in a family, and certainly we belong, to a place that we call home. So there has to be happiness, harmony, and empathy in our life so that we can elevate our well-being and we can enjoy this life to the maximum potential. Of course, when you're in a negative state, so the opposite of the 5 forms of love, it's very much like you're pressing the wrong phone number. Remember that, when it comes to energy connection, it's like putting in the right phone number. And if you get it right, you get to connect to the person on the other end of the line. And basically, you get to the goals that you wish to get to. Whereas if you put in the number, but then you get one number wrong, then of course it won't connects you to the other end of the line. And what we mean by love and morality when it comes to NLG, these are not necessarily fancy things, as in you have to be wealthy in order for you to make or do charity or make a donation or something like that, and then you consider that love. It is love, right? And it is a way for a lot of people to show their compassion with other people, but then we're not, not all of us are in that situation. And a lot of the time, it's not only money and material benefits that we can use to express our love, but the love that we're talking about here, particularly love for family, is that the things that you do for them on a daily basis. So it's not that you have to do something fancy for your parents or your kids, but it's, giving them a smile, asking them how they are, and show that you care, show that you love them on a daily basis. And it's just acts of kindness and certain gesture, right, that can help you to express your love to the people around you. Or, when people make a mistake, people do something that you don't like, people say something that you disagree with, then how are you going to respond to that? And that's really important. And particularly at this stage of the class where we're at level 1 and 2, we're talking about love of family, and that is how you treat your family. Now, it's not that you have to be with them 24 hours a day to do that, but it's certainly, there are many, many different ways in which you can show that you care for your family, for your children. And so there's a lot of way in which you can educate your children without being difficult on them, without punishing them, and without using really difficult words with them, as well as your parents as well. So for example, are you just looking at the money, the material benefits that you can get from your parents, or are you really wanting to take care of them and wanting to show your love with them, visiting them every now and then if you live really far away, or having bubbly phone calls, and just using words, choice words that are more loving and show that you care about them. Whereas on the opposite, a lot of people think that they can do certain things to trick other people, to take advantage of other people. Now, a lot of the time we think that in that situation we are the winners, right? Because we trick people and then they believe us, and with that we can take, I guess, a shortcut to certain goals, to have certain things, but that is not necessarily correct. And later on, from an energy perspective, Mr. Lay will explain why is it um, so harmful, really, to our energy when we do those things. And the things that we need to also think about, and we will just touch on this really briefly at this level, is basically when you present other people with negativity, then that is what you will attract for yourself. It might not be the same experience that you give to other people, but it will certainly be, one way or the other that you will have to basically answer to the things that you do, or in other words, be responsible for the things that you give to other people. And remember that what goes around comes around. If you're, giving out acts of kindness, then those things will, of course, be rewarded to you in one way or another. And, nothing happens as a coincidence. And as you get to a high class level, you will understand why is it some people are so lucky and then other people seems really unfortunate. And we will walk you through, those things as well, and explain why things like that happen from an energy perspective. Because, of course, it is this energy that we're interested in, and we wish to, understand it fully and to be able to use it effectively. Now, many times when we become ill, when we have to deal with certain challenges, there's, as I've said, there's that consequences, there's that karmic consequences that go through and has added up through the many lifetime that we have served. And so in that sense, we need to be careful about that as well. And as you get to a higher class level, Mr. Lee will talk about that more. But at this stage, when you're not in a loving state, then it has a direct impact on your body as well as your brain capacity and subsequently the cells in your body as well. Because the cells in your body, remember that when we're not in the frequency of love and morality, in other words, we're not in the +1 -1 frequency, then we don't get to connect properly. And when we don't connect properly, what happens is the cells in your body cannot receive this energy very well. And so, as I've said yesterday, this energy is very much like the cell's favorite food, right? So if you don't connect to it properly, then it's sort of like you leave them to starve. And of course, we don't want that because they have been like that for, a very long time. And now that you know about NLG, the first step is to make sure that you have that love, that morality, you stay in frequency of +1 -1. And with that, you're able to help the cells in your body connect better to this energy source. And it is the cells in our body that help us to improve. So as I've said yesterday, it's not that you practice and something magical happen. Well, you can think about it as something magical happen, but there's basis as to why things happen and how these cells in our body operate and how we can optimize that, their function so that they can help us to achieve the goals that we wish to achieve. Now, when you come to this method, there's a need to be really honest with the process, really honest with yourself. Because a lot of the time, it's easy for us to say that I'm a loving person, I understand love, I have practiced love, And basically, there's not a lot of things out there that I have to learn anymore because I think that I'm a good person, to say my partner or to my family or to my children. And sometimes we don't say that, but we think that. And the reason why I say that we think that because our action, our behavior shows that. And a lot of the time we just unconsciously, right, and do things or in the ways that we respond to people a lot of the time. We don't think about how we respond to other people, but it shows that psychologically we are dealing with our own ego and we don't like it when we think that our practice of love and morality is being questioned, and certainly our intention as well. But a lot of the time, the ways in which that we show love, it's not necessarily wrong, but it's not the most effective way to do it. And so when you come into NLG, it's not about being right or wrong. And Mr. Lay certainly has always said that it's not about right or wrong. It's just about being effective in, doing certain things. And so if we think that when we do a certain thing and it's not effective, then maybe it's time to change. Because if we have been really loving, if we really understand the practice of morality, then why is it that we still have to deal with these issues? And from a personal level, as well as national level and international level. And what I mean is the three issues of wars, conflicts, diseases, poverty, and hunger. And so if we look at, and you look at the world, you may not be in that situation, but a lot of us are like that around the world. So remember that it is not just about you, um, living and enjoying your life. But when you have that, then what can you do to support other people around the world? And, to look after each other in ways that show love and morality, because as we know, we will make our way up, to the fifth forms of love that we talked about. And when you get to that, it means that you need to have love for all living things. Okay, the fourth forms of love is love for humanity, but then the fifth one, which the majority of us, we don't really have, or we have it, but then we forget about the other things. And remember that a lot of the time, we might say, I'm an animal lover, right? And I love plants, I love everything around me, I care about the environment. But then the ways in which we take care of ourselves, sometimes we starve ourselves for different reasons. We don't maintain healthy diet, and a lot of the time we don't even care that much about the people in our family. And so that's something that when you come into energy, you really need to work on. It's not about one of the forms of love, it's about all five of the forms of love. So there's, of course, a need to put in that effort and maintain all five forms of love as you go. Okay, now I'd like to talk a little bit more about love for family. Is that a lot of the time, because these people are so close to us, and so perhaps we feel that, or in the things that we do things, that we feel like they should understand us more, that they need to forgive, and that it is their responsibility to take care of us. But then if we don't do the same thing, if we don't reach out first and be the one who initiate all of those things, then just remember that these people, even though they are very close to us because they're family, and a lot of the time they're willing to forgive, but at the same time, it hurts more, right? Because if you expect that from them, imagine what they would expect from you. And so there needs to be that bond and understanding in a family, between parents and children, between spouse, and certainly between grandparents and grandchildren and everyone in the family. So there needs to be that harmony. And the +1 -1, as we've already talked about, it's based on love and morality. So if you get love and morality right, then you're more likely to be in the +1 -1 frequency. And I guess now that we know how beneficial this frequency is, because it is the frequency of the energy as well that we're interested in, that we need to connect. And so now that we understand that, I hope that you will be more willing to understand why you should act with love and morality, and you should remain, a positive presence. Okay. The chicken and the eggs, we touch on that as well. So it points to the consistency of your practice, both your formulas as well as your practice of love and morality. But then particularly for the formulas, it's about getting that precision in the wording, in the way that you direct energy. Now, a lot of the time you might think that you're correct when you read the formula, but every now and then, I think it's always good to double check. And remember that we have that Telegram groups, so you'd always double check with us. Some participants think that they interpret the meaning of the formulas correctly, and then they went ahead and practiced accordingly. And afterwards they came back with, let's say, a headache or something like that. So it's worth it to, if you experience something like that, that you share your experience with us and you ask question in terms of whether your understanding of certain point and of the techniques is actually correct or not. Okay, so moving on to the benefits of NLG. And this is really apparent for a lot of people out there. These are things that people actually have experienced, and will continue to experience as they go through the class level. So as I've already explained yesterday, a lot of people coming into NLG with the first experience of health improvement. It's optimize our life and improve health condition. And then after that, when we get to enjoy health benefits, then the next thing that we want to do is to maximize the brain's function, increase intelligence and wisdom. And actually, for a lot of young people out there, for example, when I started with NLG, I didn't come in because I have an illness of any sort. I was just very curious as to what this is. And so straight away, I do experience some healings happening to certain things that I struggle with, and then certainly maximizing the brain's function. So in the sense that when you do something or you think about something, and it is that frequency that when you're about to do something, that you have that ability to determine whether it is the things that you should do or shouldn't do. So I guess a lot of people call it instinct or something like that, or you just have that gut feelings of whether it's something that you should participate in. And of course, then it helps you to maximize effectiveness at work and develop highest career prospect. With that, it brings about harmonies in relationship when you feel love, when you express love, and when basically everything about you just have a loving presence. And from there, you're able to attract that happiness, that love from other people to you. So ultimately, it brings about positive energy into the next life journey, which is the values that we're looking for. And the cosmic divine light, which, as we've talked about, is one of our logos here, and it is a really, really important pattern here for you to understand as you get to level 3, and particularly level 4. Mr. Lei will talk extensively about this so that you understand more about the cosmic divine light. But at this foundation level, all you need to know is that it contains the code to unlock new knowledge to access the infinite energy source of the universe, and this source of energy supports the development of humanity for an unlimited period and enough for all living things on Earth to flourish. And so there is great potential, but it's just a matter of whether you come in and you learn more about it, so that you can make the most out of it. So just be interested, be curious about your learning journey. And because this energy source is an abundant resource for everyone. There's no limit to it. It doesn't matter how many people have learned energy before you. It doesn't mean that when you come in and then you miss out on the previous energy that's already been given out. It's not like that, because everyone come in set for the same potential. And how much you can receive from the outer space civilization, it depends on how you perform, as in love and morality, how you practice your love and morality on a daily basis, and how you live your life, basically, how you interact with other people. And there's a really important thing here, energy, is that we'll look for really basic things in life, things that you can do immediately, the ways in which that you treat yourself if you know that you need to get enough sleep, let's say 8 hours per day, for your brain, for your body to be in the best state possible, then are you doing that? Or are you drinking enough water? Are you making sure that you have a healthy habits? Or are you having routines or habits that gradually would hurt yourself? Let's say your stomach or your head or something like that. So you need to think about that. There are a lot of people think that they can just, let's say, earn a lot of money and then go on holiday 3 times a year, and they can afford that, and that is self-love. But then on a daily basis, they neglect their routine. They don't really have a healthy routine, and they just go with whatever they feel like. Then in that situation, that's not really the self-love that we're looking for, that we're talking about. And same thing with your family. So it's not that you have to purchase really expensive things for your family. I mean, if you want to do that, you can do that. But a lot of the time, it's just the simple gesture of love. Getting your mom or your dad a cup of water, getting them something to eat, hang out with them, visit them during the weekend, or doing FaceTime, phone calls, and things like that. Really working on that bond that you have, and always have that gratitude, because these are the people, if it's not for them, then you wouldn't be here. So whatever it is and whatever experience that you have in your family, remember that there are things that you cannot change. There are your people's behaviors that you cannot control. But what you can control is your perspective of it, and you can change that into a positive one if it's not a positive one. And that's the things that we, when you come into energy, that we're trying to train ourselves to do. And despite all of the adversities that's happening around us, all the obstacle, we see it, we hear it, we understand it, but we are very determined. We're dedicated to the practice of love and morality. And regardless of how things happen, that we always hold on to these elements as we go. All right, how do we go for time? All right, so let's talk a little bit about when you receive this energy source and what it does to your system. So basically, when you receive it, energy brings the so when you receive this energy, what it does is that it brings this energy source down to the central nervous system, including the brain and the entire spine. So that's also the things that you will see in a lot of our formulas. And what it does is that it transfers the energy source to the entire body instantly, affecting 100% of the stem cells in your body, to help your body develop and transform, and to meet certain tasks and goals that you wish for them to do so. It supports your physical health, mental health, intelligence. It supports the superior evolution of consciousness. And of course, as stem cells, we know about that to be the body's raw materials, ability to self-renew, and there's many more specialized types of cells, and it's a really important part of us. Now, if you look at the brain, okay, there's a very similar characteristic to that of the universe out there. There's, of course, things that remains unknown, even though, yes, our scientists and researchers and people working in that field, they're trying really hard to study more about these matters so that they can bring us more findings. However, there's a lot of things that we haven't known about it. The thing is that the universe works collectively, right, in ways that we can't imagine, and so is our brain. So our brains, even though a lot of the time we think that we're by ourselves and we're just one entity, but then we have the brain, which is the most sophisticated machine, if you will, that we have as human. And there's a lot about it that we don't know. Even the best of us on this planet, we've only used up to perhaps 10% of the brain. So there's that remaining 90% of the brain that's yet to be understood. And it is that brain power that we try to optimize, because it is how we connect to the energy source of the outer space civilization. We're using our brain to control that, to receive that, to send this energy, and much more. So, of course, Mr. Lay will once again talk about this extensively. And there's a lot of great content about this as you get to higher class levels. So hopefully that you're interested and you giving this a good attempt to learn more about this energy, this method. And so when you look at the brain, of course, there's a lot of aspects about this. It's very similar to the universe out there. And Mr. Lee will also talk about the universe as well as the brain when you get to level 3 and particularly level 4 and 5. And so there's great potential to it if you look into these things. All right. Okay, how do we go for time? It's brilliant. So now I think that we're going to dive into the formulas. There are a few of them, so I'd like to walk you through. And of course, we will go through the formulas. We're going to practice it together, just like yesterday, so you know exactly how to do it in your own time. And just a reminder of love and morality. Remember that these elements, there's no boundary to them. And a lot of the time we think that we're restricted by how society, how this world teaches us to express these elements, but certainly we can go beyond the things that we've already learned. And when we look at human connection and we understand humans' connection, which is really, really interesting, then hopefully that we're more willing to support one another. And when you understand that energy connection that we have with one another as well, and you understand why, instead of questioning, why these things happening to me? What do I do to deserve these? Why am I not as lucky as other people? And as you get to high class level, you understand more about that. And so I guess in that way, instead of a lot of the time complaining about why things happen, then we just have a more open-minded perspective and more loving understanding of why things happen and how we can tackle with these things and prevent them or minimize them from happening further. Okay, so let's talk about the formulas now, everyone. Remember that yesterday we went through the very first formula, which is the brain cell activation frequency. Now, as I said yesterday, we will no longer use this formula. And so from today on, we will use other formulas in level 1. And it's not a matter of, let's say, if you want to practice it, can you practice it? The answer is no. Please don't do that. Because when it comes to formulas, please follow the instructions that we give you. Because we do these things for very specific reasons. So the first class, that's when I activate you. And when I activate you, it is the brain cell activation frequency. And that's why we pair it with this formula for you to have, that experience of what it's like to practice an energy formula, for you to feel that warmth that you're supposed to feel. And after that, today we will do stem cells. Stimulation, stem cells activation frequency. So from today on, we will move on to the other formulas that you can practice as the official formula set before you enter level 2. Okay, so just a reminder that we will no longer be using this brain cell activation frequency after today. So that's also why I encouraged everyone to practice it yesterday, because if you don't practice, then it just means that you're losing your opportunity to experience it. Okay, so now let's move on to the one of the official level 1 formula that we'll be using after you finish today's class. So it is the stem cell stimulation frequency, and you look here at the formula, you will see that there are 4 steps to this formulas, and I guess that by now, hopefully, that you would already be familiar with the structure of energy formulas. So the notes here, always read the notes before you practice. So it said, when practicing, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. Practice duration, this formula you will be practicing for yourself. And for that reason, it would depend on your age, that you can then determine for how long you can practice this formula for. Let's say you're above 18 years old, then you will practice this formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. For children of 8 to 12, they will practice this formula for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. For teens of 13 to 18 years old, they will practice this for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. All right, so step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era NLG level 1 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. And of course, for all of the energy formulas, you do not need to read them out loud. What you do is that you recite them in your head. All of these steps here, you recite them in your head. All of the, even this part here, where basically it instructs you what to do, you also recite that silently in your head, and then you direct energy accordingly. Okay, so step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. And then step 2, receive energy into the brain. That is by visualizing energy from outer space entering the brain. Receive first time, wait for 3 to 5 seconds, receive second time, and receive third time. And of course, there's always that delay in between the reception time. And step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. So from your brain here down to the ERC, which is the part at the back of your neck where it meets your shoulder. It's right there. Send first time, wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Send second time, wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Send third time. All right. And then you move on to step 4, continuously sending energy from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. So it's your tailbones right here. Continuously support the energy, maintain warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. So this is one of the I guess really important and also amazing things about NLG is that even at level 1, you get to stimulate your stem cell. Now, if anyone here know about stem cells, you would know that if you get treatment for this, it is really, really expensive. And so that now that we're energy participant, we get to experience this, right? This is a huge opportunity that is provided to us by the outer space civilization for us to work actively with our stem cells, understanding our stem cells. And with that, we understand also their frequency, that mutual language that we can communicate with the stem cells in our body. And that's also the reason why you get to feel the warmth at the entire spine. That is also the reason why a lot of people, after practicing energy formula, they improve and they can feel that energy is supporting them on a daily basis. All right, so something, just a notes about feeling warmth. Now, some people, when they practice, they feel warmth at the entire spine. And then other people, they will feel warmth in parts. Now, if you feel warmth in parts, it means that you're not totally focused. So make sure that you work on your concentration. And some people just don't feel warmth at all. And so there's a couple of reasons as to why you don't feel warmth. First of all, it could be that you don't really understand how to direct energy and therefore practice the formula. And so in that case, review the formulas and make sure that you understand every step. And there's also the case where people's sense of system get damaged one way or the other. And so in those cases, people wouldn't feel warmth necessarily, because it just means that your body's not as sensitive to this energy as in your sense of system. It's not that sensitive. And so you can't really sense that warmth. And so what you will be looking for, if you don't feel warmth, it's you will be looking for health improvements. So if you don't feel warmth, but you still experience lots of health improvements and all of the benefits that we have talked about, then that's fine. And you will gradually work towards that warmth, or feeling that sensation of energy as you continue to practice. All right. And remember that when you get to step 4, don't mimic it, like as in don't no, sorry, not mimic, not sorry, don't repeat it. Don't repeat it many times. Remember that after you recite it once in your head, what you will then do is you will follow this instruction and you will direct energy. Okay, so in this case, it is sending energy from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. So you continue to do that, and then you just keep it there, continue sending it so that you can feel that warmth. And of course, when we use images like this on our formula, that is for you to visualize it better. It is not that you will send energy to these images. And so remember that when you practice for yourself, everyone, you need to visualize your body, your own body. Okay? Next one, this is self-healing. Okay. Step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1 frequency band, self-healing frequency. You recite that in your head, and then you go ahead and recite step 2, receive energy into the brain. That is, visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. Receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. And so, of course, you need to have a 3 to 5 seconds delay in between. And then you send energy from the brain into the ERC. So you send first time, you wait for 3 to 5 seconds, send second time, wait for 3 to 5 seconds, send third time. And then step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain. So from outer space entering the brain and transmit it into the ERC. So it should go like this. Okay, so from outer space entering the brain, then down the ERC, outer space, brain, ERC. So it should just go like that for the remaining of the 5 minutes and 30 seconds that you'll be practicing this for. And then you let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. Now, because as the name suggests, this is self-healing. So you will be using this formula for yourself, not for other people. So of course, because of that, then the practice duration will be according to your age. Okay, and when you practice this formula, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. Remember that when we keep our eyes open, we are working with that concentration, with the ability to focus, regardless of the things that are happening around us. And there's also some other meaning that Mr. Lei will explain to you when you get to a high class level as to why we should not close our eyes. Okay, this is another healing frequency, which we call the direct healing frequency. Now, this formula, it's a formula that you would use on other people. You do not use it on yourself, because for yourself, you have the self-healing. But for other people, you would use this formula here. Now, please note that level 1 participants are not yet ready to support people with neurological diseases. So just keep that in mind. And this is direct healing frequency. It means that you need to be there physically with the person. You cannot transmit energy indirectly, let's say through a live stream, through FaceTime or something like that. So not in the same way as Mr. Lei transmitting energy, not in the same way that a lot of other participants transmitting energy from afar. This is direct healing. So you need to be there with the recipient. And at level 1, please note that you can only support your family members, so start with them first. Remember the things about self-love and love of family. So reach out to your family first at this stage. So it could be your parents, grandparents, your in-laws, or the people on either side of your family, that's fine. But for supporting another person with serious illnesses, the transmitter must feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cell stimulation formula. Once again, that fits into self-love and love of family. You need to work on yourself first, everyone, making sure that you feel that warmth or that health, those health improvements that we talked about before you can reach out to help someone else. While performing, the transmitter and the recipient keep their eyes open and maintain a state of mindfulness. So this is something that you need to tell the recipient as well, so that they know how to receive it. And you can also tell the recipient to visualize their ailing areas, so where it is hurting on their body. If there are many areas, then you just tell them to focus on the ERC and the entire spine. Okay. So remember that is the instruction that you will give the recipient, but then on your part, as the transmitter, you need to follow the formulas, whatever it is that it's telling you, it's instructing you to do here. And because this formula, you are practicing it on another person, so the practice duration is according to the recipient's age. So let's say you are transmitting energy to someone who is above 18 years old, then the time would be 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If you're using this formula on your kids, let's say a 5 years old, then the time would be 1 minute and 30 seconds. And you can see here for the age group between 0 to 3 years old, you only practice this for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Now, and that age group is the only age group where you can start step 1 and 2 without starting the timer. And then as you get to step 3, that's when you set your timer to 30 seconds or 1 minute. And you will, and once you press the timer, then you'll continue to practice from step 3 and then on to step 4. But make sure that you still practice step 1 and 2. It's just that you can do that without the timer. And this particular exception only apply to the 0 to 3 years old age group. Whereas from 4 years old and older, you always need to set the timer and start it and then you will go from step 1. Okay, so keep that in mind. Are there any other notes for this one that I'm supposed to? Okay, there's some tips as well on this one. Is that because you need to be there with the person physically, be there with the person, and you're also required to put your hands on the recipient's ERC like this. So this is the person ERC right here, and this is how you will position your hand. And for that reason, of course, you need to inform the person. You need to inform them that this is what I'm going to do. And you can show them this image as well as a demonstration of what you're going to do. And when you place your hand on the person's ERC, just a note that don't apply too much pressure, or else later on your arms would feel pretty sore. Imagine that you're transmitting energy to someone who's above 18 years old and you're doing it for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And if you apply too much pressure, or you're sitting at a strange angle, then afterwards your arm would be really, really sore. It's sort of like doing gym work and that sort of thing. So doing workout. So just make sure that you are mindful of that. You can sit comfortably with a certain distance between you and the recipient, making sure that it's comfortable for both of you, and consider sitting at a similar height as well to prevent your arms from feeling sore afterwards. And also don't apply too much pressure, certainly, because it would not be comfortable for the recipient either. Now, because this is a healing frequency, so you can use it to assist your family as needed. So it doesn't mean that when someone is sick and then you use this to assist them, but even on a daily basis. If you have children and you just want them to do well, and you want to minimize the chances of them having different conditions, and you want to make sure that they are doing well, both at home and at school, then you can transmit energy to them on a daily basis like this. And for children, if they are really, really young children and they're very active, they don't want to just sit there for you to transmit energy to them, what you can do is you can transmit energy to them when they're asleep. Whereas if your children are a little bit older and they are willing to just sit still for a few minutes for you to transmit energy to them, then that's great. You can do that. So there's that flexibility there when it comes to children. Okay, so now let's go through the actual formula. So step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era NLG level 1 frequency band, direct healing frequency. Step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. So that is you. So you are the transmitter, you're transmitting energy, and you receive first time into your brain, second time, third time, and of course with 3 to 5 seconds in between each time. Step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter, so that's from your brain, into the recipient's ERC. So from your brain to the person's ERC right here, send first time, send second time, send third time with 3 to 5 seconds in between. Step 4, the transmitter continuously transmit energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. So you continue to send the energy from your brain into the recipient's ERC. So basically it's very similar to step 3, but it's just that in step 4 here, that's the things that you will continuously doing all the way until the alarm rings. And of course, let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings here. And you don't need, and once again, you don't need to recite this repeatedly in your head. You recite this step once in your head. And then the rest of it, it's how you direct energy. It's things that you do instead of just reciting the wording in your head. Okay. All right, so I think that's about it for the formulas. And then we have the notes here. So on a daily basis, we're encouraged that you practice the stem cell stimulation and the self-healing formulas every day for yourself. You can practice these two formulas continuously, one after the other, or you can practice it 1 or 2 hours apart. Now, please note that level 1 students who have received 2 activation, the brain cell and the stem cells, can then practice the level 1 formulas. And direct healing can be used to support family members as needed. And that's what I just mentioned earlier. When practice, maintain self-awareness for 5 minutes and 30 seconds and relax your mind. So don't be too stressed about it. And of course, it comes with practice. So a lot of the time when you first practice it, it can feel a little bit stressed, a little bit stiff. And afterwards, let's say, and, there are people who don't even blink, which is, which is so, you can blink, you can certainly blink. And if you cough or if you sneeze, that's okay as well. But there are people who just don't blink at all. And then afterwards they're like, oh, I start to, feel dizzy. And so, don't put yourself through that type of situation. So you can relax your mind, but you stay very focused on how you direct this energy. So particularly at step 4, when you direct it, you're very focused on directing this energy, but you're still really relaxed. You don't need to be too stressed about that. Now, if you are distracted for more than 30 seconds, don't count that practice. Reset the timer and start again. And what it means is that distracted as in when you start to think about something else. When you stop directing energy and then you start thinking about what you're having for dinner, you're thinking about your family, you're thinking about your partner, you're thinking about something at work, or things like that. Then if you are distracted for more than 30 seconds and your mind will start to wander off, then you need to set your timer again and just do another session. Of course, choose a quiet place to practice. Keep your eyes open the entire time. You can blink, yes. Find a focus point or object. Some people look at the wall, right? And that's fine. And avoid using fan or AC to feel warmth during practice. With the fans blowing right at your face, a lot of the time it prevents you from feeling that warmth, because a lot of the time these warmths are very subtle. It's not like you feel super hot or anything, but you just feel this really mildly warm sensation. And so those are some of the things that you'll be looking for. Of course, practice the formulas as instructed correctly and daily, and maintain moral ethics, 5 forms of love, and a state of +1 -1 to achieve desired outcomes. Now, when you practice the stem cell stimulation formula for the first time and your entire spine feels really warm for the 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then you only need to practice this formula once a day. But then if you practice for the first time, but the entire spine doesn't feel warm, then you can try to practice for the second time and a third time. So maximum 3 times in a day. And you can practice it in a row, so one after the other immediately, or you can do that 1 to 2 hours apart. So that's the stem cell stimulation formula. And then for the self-healing, you should practice this formula at least 6 hours before bed, because late practice could lead to excess energy and causing difficulty sleeping. Some participant actually reported to us that they have, it's very difficult for them to fall asleep after they do self-healing, because basically it means that their system just full of this excess energy, and so they can't sleep. But then the next day, what's amazing is that the next day they don't feel tired. They don't feel tired at all, and they can still work. They can still do the things that they do like every day. But it's just that, of course, when it's bedtime, you would certainly want to go to bed and to get a good sleep. So in that case, if you accidentally practice and you forget that it's too close to your bedtime, then the techniques that you can do to alleviate that excess energy is that you will breathe in through the nose for 3 seconds, and then you breathe out through the mouth 6 seconds. So short inhale through the nose, 3 seconds, long exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. And you do that 3 times. And then you wait for 5 minutes. And then if after 5 minutes you still can't sleep, do another breathing session and then wait 5 minutes. And then if you need to, you can do that breathing techniques 3 times. Okay, so that's something to note. Healthy or mildly ill people need to practice self-healing once a day. In case of severe disease, practice twice a day. For support, healing on the same person or receiving energy from another person needs to be spaced from 6 to 8 hours. What that means is that, let's say, you plan to practice self-healing in the morning. So then what that means is that you have to wait at least 6 hours until the next time that you practice self-healing again, or when you want to receive healing support from Mr. Lei or another energy participant. So let's say that Mr. Lei transmit healing energy to everyone at a certain time. Let's say that if we're talking California time, then it will be 8 p.m. on a daily basis. And so that means that you need to space that out. So 6 hours before that, let's say that would be 2 p.m., you can practice one session of self-healing. And then maybe early in the morning, if you want to, you can practice another one if you need to, or you receive healing support from another person. And so because these are all healing frequency, so the self-healing, the healing that you get from another participant, as well as another NLG participant, that is, and also the healing that you get from Mr. Lei, they are all healing frequency. It's just that they different when you're at different levels. So at this stage, you are of the level 1 healing frequency. And if you, let's say, meet someone who's in level 5, then it's the same energy it's still energy frequency, but it is of higher levels. And so because they're all healing frequency, you need to space them out at least 6 hours, if not then 8 hours, because you want to give the cells in your body time to work with this energy that you just take in. And if you practice too closely, as in one session too close to the other, or if you receive healing energy too many times, then it means that it's not necessarily good for the cells in your body. It's not about quantity, it's about quality when you practice and you receive healing support. All right. So I have to show you the formulas. And so now let's do stem cells activation. This will be energy activation, everyone. And remember that you need to participate in yesterday's class in order for you to receive this energy activation today, because these energy activation, the one from yesterday and the one from today, they are different. Oops. Sorry, I just trying to charge my laptop. They are different, so you need to get both of these energy activation for you to then practice the level 1 formulas and for you to be considered as a level 1 participant. Okay, so if you miss out on the one yesterday, really sorry, but you're going to have to wait for the next level 1. And of course, if you haven't finished level 1 fully, then you can't proceed to level 2. So that's something to note. Now, I will show you the demonstration video of how to receive these stem cells activation. energy, it is slightly different from the one from yesterday. And so basically what you would do is you will open your eyes, right? Well, I will close my eyes, so don't mind me. You will open your eyes, you will look at my forehead, and then you visualize energy from my forehead going into your brain 3 times. And so you will count. And so 1, 2, 3. And then after that, you will direct that energy from your brain that you just take in down your spine. So all the way down to the coccyx, to the tailbone. And you will do that 3 times. So from your brain down to your spine. So 1, 2, 3. And then you continuously support the energy there at the entire spine. Okay. I will show you the video so you can visualize it better. So let's say that this is you, right, on the screen here. So you will look at me and you visualize energy going from my forehead into yours. 1, 2, 3. And then from your brain down your spine. 1, 2, 3. And then after that, you keep the energy there at the entire spine until the alarm rings. So once again, 1, 2, 3 into the brain and then down the spine. 1, 2, 3. And then you keep that energy there. Okay, so I hope that that's clear. Okay, so it is from my forehead into your brain 3 times, and then from your brain down your entire spine 3 times, and then you keep that energy there at the entire spine. And that is stem cells activation. Okay. Now, this is energy activation for level 1 participant. So if you are in level 2, 3, 4, and 5, please look away. And then you can come back later on if you want to listen to some more content. But this is only for those who are here for level 1. And if you have completed level 1 before and you're still in level 1, so you haven't completed level 2 at all, then you can also receive this energy activation. And so I will set my timer to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Remember that if you experience any technical issues, just be calm and just know that I will be transmitting this activation for 1 minute and 30 seconds. So even when you can't see me on the screen, you keep visualizing energy coming into your brain and then down your spine, and then you keep it there because I'm transmitting energy in real time to you. Okay, because this is a live stream. You can see the word live, that red dot on the video, and so you'll know that this is a live stream. Whereas if you rewatch this later on, then of course this part, this energy activation, no longer works. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so let's get started. 1 minute and 30 seconds, stem cells activation. Let's get started. Okay, and we have completed the energy activation, everyone. So now let's practice the formula together. And once again, if you receive energy activation and you feel a little bit too tense in the forehead or you have a mild headache, use that breathing techniques that I just talked about. Okay, so now I will put the formula on the screen just so you know of the pace when you practice it by yourself at home. I will also share this audio with you where I basically read out the formula so that you know exactly how to do it in your own time. Okay, I share the screen now, and then I'll turn off my video so that it doesn't block out any parts of the formula. So now let's practice together, everyone. Oops.
This is practice session for stem cell stimulation frequency. Timer 5 minutes and 30 seconds for participant above 18 years old. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine New Era NOG Level 1 frequency band. Stem cell stimulation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously sending energy from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Continuously support the energy, maintain the warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings.
Okay, and time's up. We have completed the practice together, everyone. So congratulations for completing level 1. It is official now that you are level 1 participant here at NLG, and I will show you the QR code just so if anyone missed out on yesterday and you couldn't scan it, then today you have this. And always remember that if you for some reason you can't scan it right now, you can always go back to this part of the video because we will be posting the video right after this live stream end, so you can have a look and you can scan it. All right, so now I think we have 2 more minutes. So let's do a quick summary. So we talk about the basic introduction of NLG. We talk about the core elements here at NLG and the need to not only have it, not to just talk about it, but to practice it on a daily basis. And we look at the things that we can do immediately in our everyday life, and every one of us can do it. It's not fancy things that we have to wait for years and years to complete. And so if you want the changes today, then you make sure that you regulate yourself today in order for you to feel those changes. And it is not that you can't be upset or angry or emotional or excited, but think about the importance of the +1 -1 frequency. Whichever emotion that you're experiencing, always remember that you go back to this frequency of +1 -1 to maximize your energy connection. And from there, support the cells in your body with this energy, which in return, they will help to support you, help to give you the healing experience that you're looking for. Okay. And also, if you're upset, if you're in a state where you're confused as to whether you will lose your energy connection, you don't lose energy connection that easily, everyone. Only when you deliberately think or say that you don't want to learn NLG anymore, you don't want to have anything to do with this anymore, then that's when you're completely disconnected. And if you want to go back afterwards to practice, then you need to attend level 1 again. Okay? So just a heads up on that. And certainly if you need help with anything, please ask us in our Telegram groups. We're very much happy to assist you through any of your inquiries. And also, if you want to share your story, you want to share your experience, you're welcome to do that as well. All right. So congratulations, everyone, once again. Thank you for your participation. And of course, we'd like to express our gratitude to the Outer Space Civilization, as well as our founder, Mr. Lei. And we wish you all the best on your journey with NLG level 1. And we're looking forward to seeing you in our level 2. And actually, I will very quickly show you the schedule for level 2, just so you can prepare for it. And we've posted this on Facebook and Telegram as well. So we have the QR code there for our YouTube and Facebook, just for you to access it a little bit easier. And so note this down, and we hope to see you in our level 2 class on the 27th of April, that is California time. And if you're anywhere else around the world, then it would be the 28th. Okay. All right. So once again, thank you. And I'll see you in our next class together. Thank you, everyone.